Welcome to the Puma Store in State Street. It's on the corner of State and Randolph, and it's technically what we like to think of as our first true flagship. The biggest thing that we tried to do was add texture to the store. You know, have some fun, bring the charm back into the stores. I think over the last few months, they've been, you know, in order to boost the profitability and the overall effectiveness of the stores, we've had to scrimp on a lot of the visuals and a lot of the, let's say, the more fun elements into our space. And I think that when you do visit State Street, you will see that all that has kind of come back into our livery. Chicago's been a great city to us in the past. We've had our Rush Street store here for a long time, and I think that this new State Street location is only going to help amplify us in this part of the country. Things that were key was getting a large red wall with a white cat, and that kind of was the beacon that people could walk towards, knowing that they were coming to the Puma store. We recreated that beacon, this time using a lot of our discarded prototype. For those of you who visited Boston, you'll see the huge dumpster full of sneakers about to go to the shredding facility. We decided to take that waste, and instead of, you know, shredding it and basically incinerating it, we commissioned two local artists that we've worked in the past with, Tyler and Alessandra, to come up with a new way to create the beacon. And that's when you look closely at the sawed shoes, I guess you could call it. They're all cut at various depths, and then they are dipped in red latex. So it's kind of a nice three-dimensional textural element that not only shouts the Puma brand, but there's a little bit more than just the logo. I think in support of flagships, I think that the Puma brand definitely has the need. We need at least a few of these in the bigger markets as well. We need larger formatted spaces, because I think that, you know, this is the best form of advertising you could ever invest in. I think that the consumer experience in being able to look, touch, feel, and see the breadth of the company is probably key in where we are in our growth. You know, I think that in order for us to start amplifying a larger message, I don't think it's going to come vis-a-vis advertising. I think it's got to come from, you know, a beautiful representation of the brand in a megalopolis. I do believe in this format for us, you know, walking around and experiencing the space and seeing our merchandise, which looks beautiful and lovely on display, only gives me, it only proves that for sure we can handle a flagship store. I think that today marks the day that we can say, yes, we can handle some flagships around the world in some strategic locations and in some strategic cities. It'll only go towards amplifying and broadcasting the strength and the beauty that is the Puma brand.